Hello internet world and welcome to a new video on the Geekanoids channel. This is part of my business time series where I give you advice and tips and tricks about things that I've picked up over the last 25 plus years of working for myself. Now this particular business time episode is about valuing yourself, and that's not only valuing what you do but also the service you provide, your time and all various other aspects of your business, and also to learn to say no. Now these tips and pieces of advice are really relevant if you're especially starting out a new business, because when you're starting something new it's really important to generate revenue. But again, even if you're an established business, you still need to learn to value what you're doing and learn to say no to certain things. Now, just going back to the early days when I first started working for myself, I felt the need to say yes to everything. I was very much a yes man, so if I was offered a job I would say yes regardless of the price. I would try and take on literally everything that I was offered, because I was so conscious that I needed to generate money, and that sort of mindset soon left me after working for myself for about 6 months, because I was working harder and harder for not much monetary gain. So these tips would have helped me out big time back in the day. Now before I get on to the very first tip for valuing yourself, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's tuned in. As always, this is a live broadcast and I say a big hello to the first 4 in the live chat. So hello to Chrono Lemon, Gritty Shaker, Joseph Kumar and Horse Cow Gaming. Hello to all of you, and thank you to everyone who's tuned in for this broadcast. Now you can leave me a live question or comment in the chat section, or indeed you can use the super chat. And if you're watching this after the live broadcast on the main Geekanoids channel, if you want any advice at all, you've got any questions or comments, drop them down below. So anyway, let's move on and go on to the first sort of topic, which is doing your research, because this will really help you in pricing your services or products accordingly. So look at competitors' products and services, make sure yours are priced at the going rate, and then that will give you more confidence in approaching new clients and new customers and learning that you have valued your services accordingly. There's no point in sort of pricing yourself way up here and then sticking to saying no to everyone else that doesn't offer you this top tier price when you haven't done your research. You need to know that you are pricing yourself at the current sort of market value for what you're doing. And the other really good thing to learn not to do early on, and I fell into this trap so many times, is to don't discount what you're doing instantly. There are sort of exceptions to this. I'll come on to one of those in a short while. But what I mean by this is, for example, I offer video services to commercial clients. And if I was, say, pricing that service at £500, this is just an example, and they come back to you and say, can you do it for 250? And you're thinking, I really need the work, I really need to win this particular customer, so yeah, I'll do it for 250. You've got no promise of future work from them, and you're suddenly valuing yourself at half the amount that you originally thought you were worth. So it's quite sort of soul destroying when you do that, because you might find that you build yourself into this corner where you're constantly pricing your work at 500 and then doing it at half price straight away. Now there are a few exceptions, but one of the main exceptions to this is you can discount, of course, if you're actually quoting for a contract where you're going to get repeat business. So again, let's use that example, £500 for a service. A customer says to you, can you do it for 250? And you say, well, if you're booking maybe 4 times, then I can discount that by, I don't know, 25% or 20% and bring it down to maybe the £400 mark. So you're offering that discount as an incentive for a longer business relationship with that client. So that's a really good way of handling these sort of discount requests when you're quoting for work. The other thing is, and again, I did this very early on when I was offering out video services, is don't do freebies. And what I mean by that is you'll get approached by a company, can you do this project for me? You'll quote them and they'll say, well, you're quite new to the game, so how about you do this one for free? We'll see how it goes, and then we'll come back to you and book you next time. Not a good idea, because more often than not, they don't come back to you. And if they do, then they're going to be saying, well, you did it free last time, so why are you now asking this amount? Let's meet somewhere in the middle, or often below the middle rate, and we'll pay you this amount. So they've then got the upper hand, and it's your business. You've put a lot of work in, a lot of training, a lot of research, and then you have to actually do the work. So you should be compensated correctly for doing that work. Now, before I move on to some other tips and tricks, let's just recap. So do your research properly so that you actually price your products or services accordingly. Don't instantly discount unless you're actually quoting to actually win a repeat contract, and don't do free services. I know it's very tempting, but try not to fall into that sort of habit of doing things for free. So let's take a look in the live chat. Western Gents United, hello to you, kind sir, is asking best fish and chip shop near you. There's about 12 near where I live, so plenty down here. But I normally, actually there is one, but it's not near me. If I was going for the ultimate fish and chips, I'd actually drive about 45 minutes to get that. But there's no one that sort of comes to mind near me. Obviously a gap in the market and very relevant to the Business Time series. Luxury fish and chips. So here we go. Let's move on to the next tip, which is don't agree to their terms. And again, this is something that I've sort of experienced myself. Often when you're quoting for a service, mainly the service industry, not necessarily the retail industry, you often apply terms and conditions to the service that you're offering. So you would set out maybe a few sentences, keep it nice and simple. If this, this and this happens, then you wouldn't get a refund. If this, this and this happens, then you get a partial refund, you know, something along those lines. Very sort of loose example there. And I've had this happen quite a lot, where I've set out my terms and conditions for providing video services, for example, and then the clients come back to me and said, well, actually, these are our terms. So instead of us paying you within 30 days of you issuing an invoice, we'll pay you within 60 days. Or instead of you delivering within 2 weeks, we want it within 4 days. Now, some of those can be negotiable, but don't forget, you're the provider, you're the business offering the service, so it should be delivered on your terms, not on their terms. And again, it's tempting to sort of bend over backwards and agree to their terms, and that's entirely up to you, but it sort of sets the stage for future bookings from that same client, because they're going to then enforce their terms on you every single time, and it might not be the way you envisaged your business going forwards. I personally have very strict terms and conditions when I'm offering a business service, and I will be flexible on a few of them, especially if it means winning repeat business. But more often than not, I'd say probably 95% of the time, my terms are my terms, and if you want to use my services, then that's what you've got to agree to. If they were offering you their services, they wouldn't suddenly say, oh, whatever you want. They'd say you have to sign on the dotted line. If you go to, this is just a really silly example probably, but if you go to a bank for a mortgage to buy a house, and they said, these are our terms and conditions for lending you the money, and you said, no, I want to borrow that money on my terms, they would laugh. They'd say, you either sign the contract, you know, the mortgage contract, or you don't get the money, you know. So it's very similar. But do bear that in mind. Work on your own terms, and then you'll not only be happier in yourself, but you'll earn the respect of the clients that you're dealing with, because then the onus is on you to deliver within your terms and conditions. You know, you haven't sort of changed things for their benefit. And then last but not least, we have got the main title of this video, which is Learn to Say No. Now again, back in the day when I first started out, I'd feel obliged to say yes to everything because I wanted to earn money, and I ended up doing lots of jobs for very low rates, and I was working extra hard instead of just doing one job at the correct rate. Now, the example I'm going to give you here I have used in another video, but it is far better to have 10 awesome clients, like really good clients, paying you £1,000 each, than having 100 clients that want something done for £100 each. So much easier to have those 10 clients at £1,000 each than having 100 clients and only paying you £100 each. The sort of end result is you're going to earn the same amount of money, but with the 10 clients you're going to be delivering a far higher quality service. You can pay your clients a lot more attention, they're a lot easier to manage, and you're valuing yourself correctly. That's the biggest thing I would say, is concentrate on really building good business relationships with just a select few. And I know this is slightly off topic again, but a lot of people have said this about communities on YouTube, is you can have 1 million subscribers and not have any sort of connection with your viewers, or you can have a channel with maybe 1,000 subscribers and have a really close connection with your viewers, and that be far more valuable to you and brands and clients than that channel with 1 million subscribers. So another little example for you there. So anyway, that is pretty much it for this particular business time episode. Thank you very much for tuning in. As I said right at the beginning of this video, if you want any advice at all about running your own business, then please do drop me a question or a comment below. Thank you very much for watching. I wish you all a fantastic day wherever you are, and I'll see you in another video very soon.